It's All-Star break time, and you know what? If you ask the casual hockey fan about the Edmonton Oilers season to this point, they're probably going to say, McDavid, McDavid, McDavid. Yes, he's been otherworldly this season, but you know what? He's been far from the whole story. Buckle up, folks. We're about to dive in and unpack the analytics behind a few storylines from the Oilers season to this point. Let's get into it. Hey hockey fans, I'm Josh. This is the Hockey Flow, the place that needs the Kraken to play like a second-year team. Please consider subscribing if you haven't, and be sure to smash that like button harder than a Kostin left hook. I appreciate you either way. How would you describe the Oilers season to this point? For me, one word does it. Stressful. Here we are. It's the All-Star break. We've got a team with Stanley Cup aspirations and the best hockey player on the planet, and we're sitting in 4th place in our division. That's right, our division. Not even the Western Conference. Heck, we were a couple weeks removed from folks talking about us not making the playoffs. Heck, we still might not, right? So what's the deal? We're going to go through the Oilers season to this point. We're going to break down 3 storylines, maybe a bonus or 2, and we're going to go through the data and the highlights that come with them. So first up, the bad news. The Oilers defense. If you've watched even a handful of Oilers games this season, then you will know that our defense has not been one of our bright spots. From the eye test perspective, it feels like I'm screaming at the TV several times a game. But what do the numbers tell us? Thanks to JFresh Hockey, we can see how the Oilers rank, and we can see that the only red on this card, red is bad, is in areas that we're going to lump into the defensive category. We see our expected goals against and our actual goals against are 19th and 18th respectively. Not ideal. We also see our penalty kill has not been very good this season. Again, matching the eye test. As well as our goaltending. We'll talk about goaltending in a little bit, I promise. But back to the expected goals against number. If we dive deeper, we can actually see that the Oilers are expected to give up 2.68 goals per 60 minutes. This just isn't good enough. And the sad part, that number has actually gotten better as the season has progressed. No offense to the Sens or Sharks, but a team with legit Stanley Cup aspirations should not be worse defensively than those teams. And if expected goals against, if that doesn't do it for you, thanks to HockeyViz, we can see where the Oilers are allowing their shots and how many shots they are facing at even strength this season. We see that the Oilers are allowing a ton of shots from the center of the ice and not too far out. If we compare that to an excellent defensive team, like the Bruins, for example, we can see what good defense actually looks like. So where does the blame fall? Where does the blame fall? Honestly, it's a group effort, right? Defense always is, 100%. Darnell Nurse has looked lost at times this season. But by the numbers, he hasn't been that bad. Thanks to Shayna and Dom with The Athletic, we can see that Darnell Nurse's game score value added equates to a market value of just over $7 million. I was expecting that number to be much lower. That contract doesn't look as bad. I will absolutely take it. Evan Bouchard, a polarizing figure for the Oilers, is one player who I have even tabbed earlier this season as a breakout performer. But things haven't really gone according to plan, at least according to the eye test. He has been playing much, much better of late, and you know what? The analytics, they continue to show good things for Bouchard. Tyson Barrie is another figure. He is one player who I have been very, very surprised with this season. His cap number, not ideal. And last season, a little rough for him, right? But he has found his offensive touch again this season and has been a big part of this league-leading power play unit. But that right there, that might be our issue. The one thing we see in all 3 of these defensemen is that their defensive value is actually not very good. Their game score value added numbers are mostly carried by their offensive impact. Brett Kulak, for example, has been our best defenseman from a defending standpoint. And you know what? Even by this model, he's not been overly impressive. And I tell you what, if he blows another wheel, I'm going to absolutely lose it. So the defense needs to be better, but it's not all on the defenseman. Defense does include the tendies after all. Coming into the season, the Oilers, they fully expected free agent signing Jack Campbell to step in and own the net. Coming off of an excellent season with the Toronto Maple Leafs and signing at $5 million per, I was absolutely pumped. Man, how the hockey gods can be cruel. Looking at the lowest goals saved above expected list, again provided by JFresh Hockey, we can see where Soup currently ranks. Yeah, and this is after his better play of late. But through adversity, sometimes we find gems. And my goodness, did we find one with All-Star Stu Skinner. That's right, Soup and Stu. And you know what? If we pull back up our numbers, we can actually see that this other Oilers tendy is actually on the other side of the spectrum. Skinner has had a fantastic season to this point and has actually made Soup's contract much more palatable with his own extension. The tendy spot is theirs to own for the next few seasons minimum, and I'm great with that. Yes, Soup's analytics and honestly his traditional stats are kind of a wash at this point. But Stu, his numbers look fantastic. Soup has looked much better as of late, and I will never complain about having options. But even if our defense continues to struggle, it might not even matter, because time to move on to the bright spots. Connor McDavid is in the midst of a potentially historic season. We're not going to focus too much on that here, but be sure to check out our video on the topic from earlier this season. The link might be down in the description for you guys. But McDavid, he's the best hockey player on the planet, and this season, he's scoring goals. And you know what? If he wasn't, we might be in a little bit of trouble. But honestly, our offense has not been an issue. It's been one of our bright spots. Earlier, we looked at our expected goals against numbers, so we better look at our expected goals for numbers, right? We can actually see here that the Oilers rank third in the entire league in this area with just over 3. And speaking of offense, you know one area in particular that the Oilers have been absolutely dominant this season? The power play. That's right, the Oilers have been absolutely dominant on the power play this season. Currently, the Oilers lead the league in power play percentage, posting a 32% success clip, and thanks to JFresh Hockey, we can see that the Oilers are actually tied with those defensive juggernaut Bruins in terms of special team goal plus minus with a +2. Not too shabby. And that's including our dumpster fire of a penalty kill. Now, thanks to Money Puck, we can actually see that the Oilers' power play dominance, we can actually see that through 2 other lenses. From an analytic perspective, the Oilers lead the league in expected goals percentage at almost 95%. For perspective, only 4 other teams are currently posting an expected goals percentage of 90 or above, with the Avs trailing by over a whole percentage point in second place. Now, from a traditional perspective, the Oilers have also shown dominance, scoring 51 goals to go along with that aforementioned league-leading power play percentage. Individually, the Oilers have also been successful. We can see here that they have 3 of the top 5 players in regards to expected goals on the power play this season. Thank God for the power play. But not all of our goals have been scored by McDavid and Draisaitl on the power play. We've also had some players emerge this season in one way or another. Zach Hyman has been a revelation for the Oilers this season. So much so, we dedicated an entire video to the lad. Be sure to check that puppy out. I do appreciate you guys. But it's still worth mentioning, Hyman's impact this season has been remarkable. As of yesterday, he is actually outproducing Leon Draisaitl according to the Athletics game score value added model. Absolutely insane stuff. But another player that is having an absolute gem of a season so far, Nuge. That's right, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, former #1 overall pick, he is having a career year. Again, thanks to Shane and Dom with The Athletic, we see that Nuge has actually been worth $9 million this season with a combination of very good offensive value and surprisingly sufficient defensive numbers, attributing to a very solid game score value added of 2.9. He's also passing the eye test with flying colors. He looks more confident in his shot and just in general. The fans love him. Hopefully he can keep this up. Let's go Nuge! But speaking of players that the fans love, you didn't think we'd make it through a whole Oilers at the break video without talking about the man, the myth, the legend, Klim Kostin. Kostin has quickly become an absolute fan favorite in Edmonton, not only for his on-ice performances, but his off-ice antics that earn him legendary status. Numbers aside, Klim has already stepped up as a physical force with some dangle in his game and a pretty lethal shot. But then he goes and challenges Oilers writer Jim Matheson for his terrible questions. Instant legend. Oh, and how about him refusing to take a picture with a Flames fan because the Flames fan was wearing the jersey? But he doesn't stop there. He actually takes the jersey off of himself, gives it to the fan, and takes the picture with him. Again, instant legend. His on-ice impact, though, has actually been a bright spot for this Oilers team, and that team has struggled for secondary scoring. Again, thanks to JFresh Hockey, we can see that Kostin has actually been excellent at drawing penalties this season. And with our power play, that is a definite underrated skill. His finishing grades out well too, and his WAR is actually very good. We will need Kostin to continue his progress if we want to contend for the cup, but Klim is him. Honestly, I'm not mad at how the Oilers season has gone so far. I know I said it's been stressful, but it's also been a lot of fun. Heck, we didn't even talk about the kids. Dylan Holloway, for example, he's really started to turn the corner this season. Philip Broberg, another lad who we expected really big things from this season, and he has shown really well as of late. Hopefully Woodcroft starts giving these lads more minutes and they continue to build on this recent success. Ryan McLeod continues to shine too. But boy, Jesse Puljujärvi, man, I feel for the guy. He has been excellent defensively this season, but management, they have crushed his confidence, and at this point, I just want him to end up in a place that actually wants him. So what now? Ken Holland has talked about not wanting to trade first-round picks to win a cup, but man, McDavid, Draisaitl, they're not getting any younger. That window is shrinking. So you know what? If the right move is available, I say pull the trigger. But again, key phrase, the right move. But that's going to do it for the video today, hockey fans. Thank you so much for tuning in. I really do appreciate you all. What are your thoughts on the Oilers at the break? Let me know down in the comments. Please consider subscribing if you haven't. And be sure to check out some of our other videos. We've been doing a lot of fun things recently. I appreciate you all, though. Until next time, hockey fans, cheers!